Good morning and welcome to Coffee and, the longest running panel discussion show in American radio. To make a comment or ask a question of the panel, call 401-766-1240 or email coffee@woonsocket.radio.com. And now, let's join the Coffee and panel.
Good morning to you. It is Coffee and Time here on ON, AM, and FM. My name's Joe Callahan. Thanks for joining us this morning. And I'll be joined by Dave Richards relatively soon. And a little later on, we'll be joined by Woonsocket Police Department Deputy Chief Tom Calero will join us on the Coffee and program today as well. We expect Tom anytime between now and about 8:30. Tom will show up here on the Coffee and program. Comments and questions can be called in at 766-1240, 766-1240. Call them in. Denise will write them down, pass them along to us, and we'll read it. We'll talk about it to an extent. That's right. Good morning to you there, Dave.
Hello, Joe.
Nice to have Dave here with us today.
Yeah, well, because the Deputy Chief hasn't arrived yet. That's why it's nice to have me here.
Of course it is. All right.
Yeah.
Well, the Patriots had their usual game yesterday. Came out.
Now, come on. Let's not be that way.
Well, they did. It's just the way it is this year.
They told us right up front. They said, big changes here. It's going to take a while for us to get kicking on all 8 cylinders.
Yeah, maybe next year.
Could be next year. Heaven knows. But the fact is that the play in the NFL has gotten to such a high level that no team can be expected to sustain it year after year after year. Indefinitely. I mean, when you lose your top people, there's going to be reorganization. There's going to be people with different skill sets and stuff like that. And I'm just saying that, okay, fine. It pays your money. You want your game. I understand. So maybe just don't go so often anymore.
Well, it's tough.
I mean, it's not the end of the world if you don't go see a football game in person. We'll get to the baseball ones later. Especially with broadcasts the way they are, all of the broadcasts are really very competent representations of what's going on in the field. Announcers notwithstanding, I thought the bozo who was doing the game, well, the 2 bozos yesterday, they're doing the game yesterday, I would have selected differently.
Well, it wasn't their A-team.
Absolutely not their A-team. I mean, the guy just kept getting it wrong and then making believe that you didn't hear what he said. Crazy. I mean, I try to weed that out of prospects in their first few games on my station. Be a human being. If you make a mistake, own it and move on. But no, he's a little prideful, so he just makes off like he didn't say it. And then who was that? Now, this is a little harsh, I'll give you. This bum who was the jock color guy on yesterday's Patriots game broadcast on Fox.
Yeah. Didn't
shave. Tie was undone and crooked. Put his microphone boom on the wrong side of his face to upstage him. I mean, this guy looked like a slob on the air. Couldn't work for me.
Yeah, but the younger people will say, oh, he looks cool. So it doesn't bother them. The 30 and under crowd.
The younger people will never know what's right and what's wrong if you don't show them a good example. Mm-hmm. I mean, people always say, oh, geez, Leave It to Beaver. That was not how things were. Ozzie and Harriet, that wasn't real life. Well, it wasn't like my family either. But at least you had something to aspire to. You say, well, that's a really nice way to live. So now you've got a goal. Let's try to live that way and see how close we can get. If you keep putting bums on the air in front of you, people start thinking, oh, gee whiz, he's got a national gig, so that's the way I should be. Yeah, right. Eventually, things start going wrong.
There was a bright light yesterday in yesterday's.
It was called the sun,
game.
Joe.
No.
And they were in sunny California.
It was a nice day there in Santa Clara, actually. But with 2 seconds to go, or 1 second to go in the first half, Joey Sly, our place kicker for the Patriots, kicked a 63-yard field goal.
Yeah.
With room to spare.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he did. Yeah, he cleared it really good.
I'm like, wow. And then, even the jock guy that was unshaven, it's like, he's got a strong leg. I played with him in college, so and he was right. So that was pretty nice to see. The 63-yard field
Well,
goal.
it's good if you get a guy like that,
was
because sometimes you
impressive.
need him to do a Hail Mary for you.
Yep. Anyway, but the Patriots come up with a short end. They may win next week. They're at home. They're against the Dolphins. Dolphins are not that good either, so we'll see what happens next Sunday afternoon in Foxborough. Red Sox had their final game of the year, and they won, but that made them 81-81 on the year. Not a losing season,
Not a winning
but
season.
not a winning season either. They came out 500 on this season, and they showed it after the game last night. And I don't have the numbers in front of me, but again, once again, second year in a row, they had a losing record at home,
Yeah.
winning more on the road than they were at home. Than this, they said that it just can't be.
Sure it can.
So, not to win, not to go on into the playoffs and things like that.
Well,
you can't have a losing record
You can't
at home.
sustain that and be successful at the end of the year. You're right
They,
about that.
the TV people did talk to Craig Breslow, the GM of the team, and well, what do we do? Well, we're going to look at see what we can do for starting pitching and relief pitching. So that's kind of their main focus. They're all set really for the outfield and shortstop. After that, everything might be up for grabs after that. And I say we should trade Tristan Casas. He's a bright spot.
Absolutely.
He's got a great
Let's get
bat.
rid of him. I never
He's
heard of
got-
him before. I never seen him play.
Yes,
Let's get rid of him.
Yes, you have. He's played first base, but he's perfect trade bait right now. And then we take the guy that you don't like at third base, Rafael Devers. We put him at first base.
I don't like him.
Yeah, not a big fan of him. And so, and that way,
I like him.
He's an adequate third baseman, not great.
He reminds me of
Put him over
George
at
Scott.
first. How?
Divers?
Yeah,
He reminds me of George Scott.
how?
Just the way he deports himself and he sits on his base and he does his job and stays out of trouble, stays out of the headlines.
Well, he does do that. All right, so the Sox are done for the year, and the Bruins will start soon enough. They keep playing their preseason games.
Oh,
and
yeah, they've been doing a bunch of them.
that's
They
nice.
didn't
So,
win
okay.
this last preseason game.
Saturday, yeah,
But,
they
you know,
lost.
it doesn't matter, does it?
Oh no, the people that you know aren't playing. It's really the Providence Bruins playing against the Philadelphia Phantoms. It's really who the games are playing. But they made a big cut and sent a lot of people down to Providence. So you'll start seeing the name players play pretty soon. All right, other things going on. Crews from up here in New England all went down to Florida to help with the cleanup of Hurricane Helene. Connecticut, New Hampshire, Rhode Island. Did Mass send anybody?
Yes.
Does it? Okay. And they all went near the city of Tallahassee. And
Yeah,
nice
the
of
ones from
Tallahassee to thank
Massachusetts
us.
didn't go to Tallahassee. That's why it's in a different story.
Oh, okay. So they went to another part of the state. Well, we need them in all parts of the state. So very nice of the crews to go down there and help out with the cleanup. So we got to you need those big machines to get the trees off the road and cut them up and move them, get them out of the way so we can cut the tree limbs off the wires and put the new wires up and things like that. It's not a fun job.
Yeah.
So it's tough going, and it's still hot in Florida. It's hot. and
Sure it
humid.
is.
It's gonna
Although
be-
it
you'll
was
be sweating
cooler.
a
As
lot.
soon as the storm went through, cooler air
like
came
that.
in behind
Yeah.
it. They only got up to the 80s that first day after the storm passed through.
All right, so good luck to them. It doesn't say how long they're going to be staying down there, but they'll be down there until the job is done. I would say.
I guess.
All right. So
They have to get ready for the next one.
the next storm could be
More,
sooner than
there
you
are
think,
more
huh?
hurricanes in September than any other month of the year.
September's almost over though,
Well, that's true.
and I would say there won't be any more. in
You think so?
September. Well, not any that hit the mainland.
Really?
Since October is tomorrow.
Yeah. Well,
Tomorrow?
you've got a point there, but
Yes,
I'm not
tomorrow.
so sure.
I don't think the hurricane's going to hit Florida or the coast.
You don't think so?
Not,
Okay.
not today anyway. Maybe
Well,
tomorrow. then
all
it'll be
season
October
long,
1st.
we haven't had many landfalls.
No, we have.
I remember in 2005, Florida got 3 majors within a month. That was not a good year for them.
Right.
But there have been an equal number of hurricanes, but they're hanging a right and going toward Bermuda before they even get near the North American continent seriously.
So we don't have to worry about hurricanes just yet, although I hear there's another one down in the Gulf, towards the Gulf, that may follow the same track as Helene, but we'll worry
I'll
about
check
that in a
into
little
it for
while.
you.
We'll look into that one. So up here in Rhode Island, because we had nothing better to do, Lifespan has decided to change their name. That'll make things better.
This is a normal thing, you know.
It is?
Yeah.
All right.
I'm not comfortable saying in public some of the things I'm thinking.
All right.
But the
largest
fact
hospital
is
group-
that, you know, you come in and you got a name. You know, this changing corporate names is, they do it for different reasons than we think, you know, and they seem to think that, well, you know, we really have to have a name that's a bit more zippy, a bit more whatever.
Oh, Lifespan was pretty zippy.
Well, you know, that's why they changed it to Lifespan. But after a while, you don't feel like you want to be zippy anymore. You want to be respected. Yeah, so let's associate with an organization that's hundreds of years old
An Ivy League
and
school.
has a good reputation, so that all the people that hate us will like us again.
They changed the name to Brown University Health as of October 15th. Now it says that the university is now looking to take over the group, but they gave them $150 million investment, and it's going to be Brown University Health at least for the next 7 years.
Naming rights.
And then we'll see what happens after that. They also have, because Brown University is also a medical school, it opens up the hospitals, the 4 hospitals, to their medical students. You know, okay, go learn over at Rhode Island Hospital. Oh, but I really, I live on Aquidneck Island. Oh, great, go to Newport Hospital for you. Oh, okay, that makes things easier for us and like that. So there you go. There's already 17,000 people that work amongst the 4 hospitals: Rhode Island, Miriam, Newport, and Bradley. Where's Bradley Hospital, Dave?
That's the airport in Hartford, but I don't know where the hospital is.
Oh, okay. All right. I thought it must be in Providence.
Well, Providence or
I'm just not
Warwick or
sure.
someplace down there. I just,
Okay.
I don't know. I've not been there.
Okay. Of course, Miriam is right on the Pawtucket Providence line.
Yeah.
And Rhode Island is right downtown. So they got it spread out. So I think it makes it easier for the Brown University med students to spread out amongst the 4
Spread
hospitals. Spread out. Give us a little room. So it becomes Brown University Health on October 15th. And what was the story that they had? It was out of.
It's good for the sign makers.
Yeah, we keep changing them, right? It was a car dealership that was having some fun.
Oh my!
In Swansea, here it is. All right.
Did you see that? Did you see
fraud
that
scheme.
guy's name?
Yeah, it's Edward Ciccio,
That's not how I read it.
Cicciu. Maybe you're thinking of a different. There were 2. We got the 4 men that were indicted in high-end
No. You
vehicle
have the
theft.
right story.
Okay.
So how are you pronouncing that?
Ciccio
Really?
or Ciccio? I'm not sure.
Well,
Anyway.
I looked at it and said Chichu,
Okay, that might be it.
which
But,
which sounds astonishingly like what the guy did
Yeah.
or is accused of. Chichu.
Yeah. Now he's receiving vehicles that he bought at local auctions without the titles. Why isn't he getting the titles when he's buying them at auction?
It's cheaper to get them without titles, Joe.
All right. And so then he turns around and sells the cars at Bristol County Auto Exchange, which there's one in Attleboro. I don't know if there's another one. Or maybe there's one in Swansea. Anyway, he attaches fake license plates and promised the buyers, you'll receive the title and the registration in the mail. Don't worry about it. I'll send it to you. And then nothing arrives.
Then you call him, and he doesn't return calls.
I'm not taking your calls. He doesn't respond to emails, nothing like that. And it's a problem for the people that have bought the cars because they can't register the car
Because they don't have the title.
because they don't have the title. Rough. This is why I tend to go to, your reputable. Of course, people thought Bristol County Auto Exchange was reputable too. But if you go to places like Imperial, or you go to places like Tasca,
Right.
or Anchor,
Right.
when you buy a car from there, sometimes and I know Imperial does, and I know Tasca does. I'm not sure about Anchor. They probably do, but they offer a service
To
And they
register it for
we'll
you.
go register the car for you.
Yeah.
It's an extra $100 or $50 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's the best $50 to $100 you could ever spend.
Sure.
Yes, you go register the car for me and bring the plates back and put it on the car. It's it's time saving.
Yeah.
It really saves you money in the long run. So if they offer that service, absolutely have them do it. And so you don't have to, because there's a special line at the registry, Dave, just for auto dealers.
That's right, for the dealers,
and
right.
they don't stand in the long lines like the rest of us do.
Right.
They
don't take a number.
No, they got their own special little thing. It's like the banks and credit unions used to have the business window.
Yeah, they don't do that anymore.
That's going by the wayside.
Yeah.
Oh well, but they still do have at the registry for auto dealers. Come right up, because they know they have the guy that's coming in from the auto dealership probably has 4 or 5 cars, maybe more, to register all at once.
Right.
And so you get them done, get them out, so we can get them back and get the cars to the people. So,
Well, also,
look for that.
professionals tend to have their paperwork in order
Oh yeah, yeah,
and are
they have
free from
everything.
drama.
Yeah, not
So they want to take those and
go
get
back
those done.
Go back and get this stamped. Go back and get you're missing something.
It's not notarized.
That's right. So that's why they take care of that. So
I
just
mean-
a little PSA from us here.
Remember that guy, Mr. Custer? Or maybe you're too young to remember Mr. Custer.
The Colonel.
No, Mr. Custer. He made a living out of being a notary. He had a little shop, excuse me, directly across the street from the courthouse.
Location.
Yeah, well,
location.
yeah, but you know, Mr. Donut.
Yeah, it's a convenience store now. I
It's
think,
it's now right. It's now a convenience store, but that whole building there on the corner, it was like a little tiny, barely a hallway building, and his desk was like 12 feet in from the front door, and the hallway building, his little apartment of it. It must have had some sort of a washroom or something in the back, but you never saw that. So it's just this little box. And Mr. Custer was there, and he had his cigar, and he talked in a gravelly voice. He's not a very affable guy, you know. He's just a guy, a business guy. All right, what do you want? What do you want? And you would go over to register your car when the registry for so many years was actually in the basement of the courthouse, when for so many years it was a courthouse and not a residence. So, but that was the whole thing. You would snake the lines down there. You would get to the cage. She would say, you got to have this notarized. You run upstairs, and they would even tell you, go see Custer across the street.
He'll notarize it for you.
And he'd charge you.
How much?
I forget, it's $1 or $2 or something like that.
Okay.
There wasn't a big amount of money back then. And you would say, that'd be equivalent to like $5 or $6 now.
Okay.
But, you know, so you go over there, and Mr. Custer, I need this notarized. Yeah, stamp. And then
Run
you're
back
gone.
across the street.
They don't even ask you your name. That was in a different time. I'll tell you, I'm a notary now, and you got questions to ask because you're supposedly representing the governor in this transaction. So anyway, but he just made all kinds of money. People would line up going in there to get their paperwork taken care of.
All right. Well,
So
smart little business they
Mr.
had going
Custer.
there.
I wonder whatever. Well, I'm sure he's passed on now because
Yeah.
he seemed aged when I was in my 20s. But yeah,
So this guy had a Swansea
I wonder if anybody else
Pulling
remembers
this,
Mr. Custer.
pulling this scam.
He must have been related to somebody.
Well, I'm sure he was.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take a break here on the Coffee and Program. More coming your way. Give us a call in if you have a comment or question at 766-1240.
You know, when you're paying the right price for protection, you just know it. It's that warm, fuzzy, totally secure feeling, knowing that you're not only getting great coverage, but you're also not paying too much for it. And when it comes to your insurance, there's no one better at getting the right price for your protection than Allstate agents Kara and Celeste Benjamin, because they know when it comes to your bank account, every penny counts towards something bigger, something better. Like a nicer car, that home update you've been dreaming of, or a phone that's fresh out of the box. Those little or big things that we work so hard for. And Kara and Celeste Benjamin want to help you work a little less by getting you the coverage you need and the savings you deserve when you switch to Allstate. Contact Kara and Celeste Benjamin at the Benjamin Agency. One agency, 2 locations in North Smithfield and Bellingham. 765-5000 for a free quote today. Allstate, you're in good hands. And you're in good hands with Kara and Celeste Benjamin at the Benjamin Agency. Savings vary based on the average annual savings reported by new auto customers surveyed in 2019 who switched to Allstate.
The Coffee and Panel is enjoying coffee from Down East Coffee Roasters. All their coffee is roasted right here in Rhode Island. Down East Coffee Roasters is available at all Little General stores.
ON, AM, and FM.
It's Coffee In right here on ON. Thanks for joining us. I'm Joe Callahan. Dave Richards is here as well. And we'll be joined by Woonsocket Police Department Deputy Chief Tom Calero in a few moments here on ON
In all
Radio.
probability.
That other car story is about the four guys in Rhode Island that have been indicted in connection. That's a real organized theft ring.
Oh, yeah.
2 Providence men, a Cranston resident, and a North Providence man, all charged with stealing about 120 vehicles. And they go for the biggies, worth around $5 million from car dealerships in Mass, New Hampshire, Connecticut, and Pennsylvania.
Tell them the models.
They go after the Porsches, the Mercedes, the BMWs, the Rolls Royces, the Bentleys, and the Land Rover vehicles.
Right.
Wow. Well, they get the big money out there on the black market, I guess.
I guess they got the names that command the big money, that's
Yeah.
for sure. And if you steal them, then your overhead is much lower.
Okay. I wonder what they did for license plates, but oh well. I don't know. But
Hey, listen, can it be that difficult? They have convicts making license plates. Can it be that difficult?
I know. I wonder if they hit the car dealership. It's on Route 1 in Massachusetts, in Walpole, right where Route 1 and 95 kind of meet.
I know where that is, yeah.
It's a huge dealership, and I can't remember the name of it. I want to say Ira, but I don't think it's a Lexus dealership. Mm-hmm. Could be Herb Chambers, but I'm not positive on that. But it's a big, huge car dealership. It's a lot like Anchor in their size.
Yeah.
With the tons and tons of cars on their lot. So I wonder if they've gone. Well, it doesn't say that they're going after Lexus, but that could have slipped through somehow. So, all right. Also, Massachusetts. All right. The CEO of Steward is resigning.
He's not having fun anymore.
I guess not. Ralph De La Torre resigning his position with the bankrupt company.
I've stolen all I can steal. There's nothing left for me to do here.
Yep, he's faced major criticism for living a lavish lifestyle that included yachts and private jet travel and, of course, visiting the Olympics for the equestrian. He didn't even go for the fun events. He went for the horse jump. Not that equestrian's not fun, but it's
Well,
really
that's
real higher
where
end.
all the blue bloods are.
Yeah, with the horse jumping stuff. Private jet travel, of course. He's the company's largest shareholder, and Stewart did not indicate whether
No,
De La
no
Torre
word
would
on whether
remain
he's going to sell off his stock after he departs.
as a shareholder once he leaves. So,
What's he going to get for stock in a bankrupt company? I don't know.
not much now.
Right.
I mean, if you're selling it for 50 cents, who's buying it?
Well, I don't know, but hey, listen, it's gas money.
And if you can get a buyer, yeah. So okay. So does it say exactly? He says he's going to resign sometime this week. No date, probably Friday. I'll squeeze one more. I get one more week's pay, Dave, out of the whole thing,
Oh, okay.
and then he'll move on to whatever
Well,
else.
no, he's gone tomorrow. September 30th was his date. This is his
It
last
is?
day.
Oh, okay. It just says resign this week. So
Yeah.
all right.
He's-
It takes effect tomorrow. There it is.
That's right.
Okay, there you go. And DraftKings, that and FanDuel constantly. It's every other football. It's every other commercial during football season.
Yeah.
With Kevin Hart and LeBron James, on and on and on and on and on and on and on. But DraftKings is
This
being fined.
this should explain to you, boys and girls, why you should never bother with those companies if you think you're going to win some money. Now, if you're just doing it to have some fun, God bless your pointy little head, go ahead, give them the money, but it's like the hobby horse outside Walmart, Joe. You don't get the quarterback.
I don't
You
understand.
get a good time, you get some
Well,
fun, but you
maybe.
don't get your money back. Don't ever think you're getting your money back on those things.
There's so much fine print on the TV screen that says, "Oh yeah, bet 500 and you get 250 or 200 back." I'm like, I don't know how this can possibly be done, even if you lose. I don't get it.
Well, if they did, how could they possibly afford to pay LeBron
Oh,
and
Kevin
the
Hart,
other dude,
yeah.
Kevin Hart?
Yeah.
You don't
Their
think they're
salaries.
doing it for less than
Oh,
five
no.
figures, do you?
Oh, yeah.
And they have to pay them, then they have to pay the production crew, and they have to make the spots, then they have to buy the premium placing on the TV channels.
We want it in every game.
Come on, give me a
So-
break. See, they're doing it with your money when you lose, boys and girls. So unless you really like playing, don't do it.
So they're being fined $200,000, which sounds like a lot of money to you and I, Dave, but to them, it's probably not. by the Securities and Exchange
200,000
Commission.
bucks?
Yeah.
They can make that in
They're
a
making
baseball
it in
game.
one weekend, I'm
Yeah.
thinking. The sports betting company, which is based in Boston, is being fined over social media posts by their CEO.
I know.
That he made on
What
his
a
personal
moron.
account. Yeah, not
What-
very bright. He's indicating strong company growth in existing markets. You can't say that
Right.
stuff.
Yeah, there are rules.
By us, because we're so strong.
Yeah.
No.
There are rules. That is like Donald Trump stupid to be saying something that you can get sued for like that, and he got sued. So I mean, Donald Trump doesn't get sued that much. Well, I guess he does, but I mean, he's not getting sued for opening his mouth. But the point I'm trying to make here is that you ought to know better than to blab like that. I
Yeah.
mean, people don't get it, but you'll never hear Joe Callahan or Dave Richards talking about Nielsen ratings. You can't. You can't utter anything about it on the air. We might be in a ratings, but we can't say anything about it. You can't talk publicly about those things. And you got to sign contracts before you can even say how you came in on the ratings. Non-disclosure agreements and stuff like that. And you go to jail for these things. This is, but now you're the head of a company selling stock in the open market, and you're giving away. Oh, how strong you're doing! Oh my goodness me! People might, and they would not be advised to, but they might be making decisions on purchasing stock based on what
you
the
tell them.
president
Sure.
said.
And he's saying things are great. The posts were made in July of 2023, and were before DraftKings had disclosed its 2023 second quarter financial results.
Right.
What? How many different
So he
SEC
gets the report
violations
in,
have
you're
he done?
doing really
Oh, we're
good,
doing
and then
great.
you tell
Let me
people
I'll
that
do great.
before they release them to the public.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness me.
So now DraftKings has got to go out. Well, they
It's
must
called insider trading.
trade. DraftKings must also provide training for corporate communication staff on financial disclosures to
Yeah.
settle the case. This is what, although they didn't, the corporate, the communication staff, they didn't post anything.
No.
It's the CEO.
But they're going to
why-
pay the price for it. They're going to have to go to these boring classes.
Yes.
That they already know what the story is.
Probably already been.
They
to
already
them.
practice and uphold the law, but they're going to now
not
be
me.
forced to go through the
Again.
process. Yeah, really tough. Do you remember Martha Stewart?
Yeah, she went to prison for this.
She got in trouble for the same kind of
Yeah.
thing, talking about stock prices in a public manner, divulging information that she knew from being well placed and on the inside about stocks.
Well, it was her own company.
Yes, which would, of course, then naturally, influence the decision making of other people who were buying stocks. You just can't do that stuff. You can't even joke about it.
Okay, so all right. So well, the fine of $200,000, really not a lot of money to DraftKings.
Well, probably not. They're going to make that up on a baseball game.
They are, and or tonight's Monday Night Football game. So,
Could be.
since they're taking in bets from around the country, so
Who is on the football game tonight?
Oh,
you remember?
It's Miami and somebody.
Well, that's nice. Miami's playing the Patriots next weekend,
Yeah,
so they'll have less time to prepare. I don't know if that makes a big difference, but
it could, but we don't. I don't know.
depends on the
yet.
personalities.
Yep. And before we take our first break, a Providence man will spend the next 45 years behind bars for murdering his estranged wife in 2017. They sentenced this man last week after a June conviction of one count of domestic second-degree murder and one count of domestic criminal violation of a no-contact order.
The subject matter is not funny.
I know. It's his name.
It tickled my funny bone because I had to practice that one before we put it on the air in the news story this morning.
Bosco's pretty easy.
Yeah, Bosco. His first name is Bosco.
Tuka Mahabawa. Mahabawa?
Okay.
Well, there you
That's-
go. And his wife's name's even tougher. The one that was killed. But geez, he did some pretty nasty stuff to her. When you're
yeah.
bludgeoned and stabbed to death in your
Yeah,
home.
that's bad.
That's terrible.
I wasn't laughing about that.
No,
I was laughing
no.
about the way you skillfully just skated over the
his
name.
But you think he would have got more than 45 years? But that's
You'd
what he got.
well.
So
Hey, when you're an adult and you get 45 years, say you're in your 40s, you get 45 years, it's like a life sentence.
I guess. All right, we're going to take another break here on the Coffee and program. More coming your way. We ask you to please stick around. It's time for the weather forecast being brought to you by Allstate.
Partial sunshine today with a high of 71 degrees and a calm wind. Tonight, mostly cloudy skies, overnight low of 53. Tuesday's weather mostly cloudy and 65. Wednesday, partly sunny and 68. Thursday, mostly sunny and 74. Friday, mostly sunny and 76. Saturday, mostly sunny and 70. And on Sunday, sunshine and 66 degrees.
And outside the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Avenue and Kennedy Street, under partly sunny skies, we have 58 degrees.
Joe,
Yes, Dave.
wish you could save on home insurance.
Oh, sure.
With Allstate, you could easily save and get quality protection. Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate, and you're in good hands with the Benjamin Agency in Bellingham and North Smithfield. Our family caring for your family. The Holiday Retirement Home is a skilled nursing and rehabilitation facility with a home-like atmosphere where laughter is the best medicine. The Holiday keeps their patients and residents involved in varied activities and events so they have the opportunity to live life to the fullest. The Holiday Retirement Home has their own in-house physical, occupational, and speech therapy staff with more than 300 years of combined experience. Stop in for a tour. The Holiday is right off Route 99 on Sales Hill Road in Manville, and for more information, you can visit their website at holidayretirement.com.
Hi, this is Kevin, host of Kevin's Sports Show, every Saturday morning from 9 to 10 on WOON 99.5 FM, 1240 AM, and OneSocketRadio.com. Follow all your New England teams and your local athletes. Call in at 766-1240 to Kevin's Sports Show every Saturday morning.
It's Coffee and here on ON AM and FM. Thanks for joining us. I'm Joe Callahan here with Dave Richards, and we're being joined at the Coffee and table from the Woonsocket Police Department, Deputy Chief Tom Calero. How are you, Deputy Chief?
Awesome. Congratulations on us all for having a wonderful autumn day out there. It's beautiful. Looks like the clouds finally parted.
Yeah.
We've got
nice.
some blue sky. I'll take
It was
it.
wicked foggy this morning.
Yeah, it
right
sure
down to
was.
the deck. I know the night shift people will tell you, but right down to the deck there for a while.
Can't see nothing.
No, and it was like 46 degrees at my house.
When
I'm
you
like,
look out the window
Yeah.
and you don't see the transit street light, just kind of like a green or red haze, you know it's
Yeah.
foggy outside.
So we're, Chief, we're 2 weeks away from Autumn Fest. Has the police department made all their plans for what they're going to do on that weekend?
Yep, absolutely. So we've had multiple meetings between the parade committee, the parade chair. We've written up our safety action plan for the year, which looks very similar to last year. The only thing that really fluxes
Similar circumstances.
Yeah,
really.
the only thing that really fluxes with us is the crowd estimates based on weather, because you can float a $5,000 5,000 person spread on a bad day. Yeah. So we have factored it all in, and we're ready to go. I'm excited. It's a great time of year.
Okay, great. One of the other things I wanted to bring up, and you can address it if you care to, but it's something I've seen online. I don't know if it's true, but
Well, if you saw it online, Joe.
it must be true.
Yeah, it's got to be true.
I'm hearing people complain on Diamond Hill Road, on the other side of Tractor Supply.
Yep.
They're saying that there's homeless people camped out there, but they're camped out on top of gas lines.
They're
And they're very worried that
Yeah.
things are going to blow up.
So they're absolutely out there. There's about 8 people out there. We nailed it down to with the fact that they're actually on city property. So what has to happen from here, because of the homeless Bill of Rights, is that you'd have to ordinance the police department to have the ability to move them. So
Who would have to do that?
it would have to be the council,
Yeah.
Okay.
which just happened in Fall River.
I saw that they said they made them illegal
Exactly. So
encampments.
well, in Fall River did it. They were they crafted that kind of well, because it allows the mayor to make the decision on where hey, that's okay and where it's not. A huge problem. I'm on the task force that meets every other week on the explosion of unhoused that we're all seeing. Not an easy solution in any direction. Everybody that sits on that task force has the same exact goal, and that's to get the people out from underneath the bridges and into some kind of a shelter situation. Lack of shelter space, lack of affordable housing, drug addiction, which if you want to go to the macro side of that, we are getting flooded with fentanyl, methamphetamine, and it's all drugs coming out of China and through our borders. And that addictive state has people where they're just not making rational decision. So it's become a very complex problem. The mayor is on it. He sits in that task force as well. Councilwoman Gonzalez is actually the chair of it. The mayor has crafted a very, very intelligently has crafted a pretty good complex group of people to hit this at every single point that it can, every touch point we can get to try to get ahead of it. I don't think it's something that we're going to see an end to, especially with the influx of migrants that we're starting to see in Rhode Island. There's evidence in contact with people from El Salvador, Venezuela, as well as Mexico, as far up as Woonsocket. So not an easy situation, a huge social problem that we're going to have to do something about. But yes, they're there. We've made contact with them. We've sent out foot teams to try to see what we can provide for them. At the end of the day, will they be allowed to stay there? Probably not. But we're going through this with even under the bridges, where we've gone in, we've cleaned up, we've explained you can't be here. They come back. But when you start getting on public property, it gets all kinds of gray because of the Homeless Bill of Rights. It's not an easy situation when it's somebody else's property, but it's from the law enforcement standpoint, it's simple, right? If they're underneath a bridge and Amtrak or P&W says that's our property, they got to go. You don't have any legal right to be on somebody else's property. You're going to have to move along. But with that being city property, it's the hope is to get them out of there. I know that we'll reach that goal. It's going to take some doing, because it's where do they go from there. But that gas line's pretty deep too. It's buried. It's very deep. It doesn't make that it doesn't make it less of a concern. If I lived in Rockridge, if I lived there, I'd worry about it too.
Sure.
It started to get cold. They started to build fires out there, and then just a general trash in that area. Job Lot actually owns that building, and Job Lot has given us trespass orders, and we've gone up there before. We did this last year. We did it across the street behind Lowe's when Lowe's moved out. So it's not new to that area. But there is absolutely an encampment there. We absolutely know about it. I've physically been out there. We've had our captain of uniforms been out there, and I know the director of human services is aware of it, and so is CCA. So we're hoping to get them out of there on the shorter side. But not an easy situation, because, like I said, it's easy to go up there and say leave, but it's to go where. And then where do they pop up, and how do we deal with it in that area? So it's a very complex problem.
When you ask them, what do they want to do? Are they looking for shelter, or are they just looking to be left alone?
It depends. Some are just looking to be left alone. Some would take shelter. Some don't want shelter that has rules attached to it. Yeah. That's it. While you're speaking, you can clearly see there's either an unfixed mental illness, because look, mental illness isn't something that we can cure with chemotherapy, right? It's something that has to be nurtured and fixed over a lot of time. We very, very rarely, though, have I come across anybody that is just like completely, like the single mom with a baby that's in a car and they're out there, believe me, but that's not what's in the woods right now out there. So there's a lot of mental health issues out there, and there's a lot of addiction issues, and there's a lot of drugs on the streets in all of Rhode Island, and it's unfortunate, but like I said, at the macro level, it's something that has to be dealt with at the borders, because the stuff is pouring in from China, and it is gutting our country, because this problem is everywhere.
Okay, with these encampments, Dave?
Yeah. Go ahead, finish.
With these encampments, and there's, you said there was 8 or so people over there by Tractor Supply. Do they all tend to get along, or are there fights that break out in these encampments?
No, there is absolutely homeless or unhoused crime, depending on what's going on. It happens. We are regularly monitoring these areas. We go out regularly to these areas. A lot of overdose issues in these encampments. Fire's out there a lot. We're out there a lot.
Fire department go out. Does it?
Yeah, rescue's out there a lot.
Yeah, okay.
You know, so and it's there. It's under it's under 2 or 3 of our bridges, and at the last real look at it, we had about 14 active sites in the city. So we know they're there. We go out. We try to provide support and help and get them on a path so that they're not there. Like I said, the trouble ends up coming all the way down to, well, if not here, where? And I don't know that I don't know that any community in Rhode Island has really made great strides in fixing this in their community. And Providence has tried, we've tried, and it's a continuous battle. And you know, they're human beings. They deserve to be treated with dignity, and we do everything we can to have relationships with them so that we can get them out of there, because the situation is not good for anybody.
Right.
Deputy Chief, I've heard in a private conversation people compare the encampment issues that we're seeing these days with the old-time hobo villages, where you had people who were just transient. This is how they wanted to live, or they found circumstances and chose this because it was better than something else they didn't want, and they try to become self-sufficient. They made that comparison. You've seen it up close. Would you say that's accurate or inaccurate?
You know, I don't know that it's completely accurate. I think that there's a bigger picture to the population that we're talking about, and every circumstance is unique. I mean, it's tough to broad paint anybody that I've met that are under these bridges, or the people that have come here. They've come here because for whatever reason, either they were directed to Woonsocket because of social services support, or they were directed here because they could sleep on a couch for a little while, and then that kind of wore itself out, or you know, or they those. So it's I don't know that I would consider it what I've read to be the hobo villages of the past, where people would buy the train tracks and, hey, we'll stay here for a while and then we'll jump on the train and take off. It is. I can say that hands down, it's growing. It's not getting smaller here. It's definitely growing, and there's a concern for that as well. But there's no easy answer. There's a lot of people at the table, a lot smarter than me, that are trying to come up with a solution. So I'm hoping that we've got a good enough team together to really fix this. And when you look at it in Woonsocket, there is a large percentage of this. This is a state problem, right? And it's a federal problem.
Yeah.
And Woonsocket as a city, you can only fund this so long. Like although successful as it was underneath Mayor Baldelli with the blocks of hotel rooms that we used, it was successful. We kept those people in the hotels. They were
not freezing to death.
They weren't freezing to death, and we were monitoring them enough that there was never any problem there. That's not a long-term solution, right. Which is why when the Dignity Bus, which like it or not, it was a genuine effort to do something in the vacuum of nothing. And the people, the 7 to 9 people that were sleeping in there a night weren't on the street. Mm-hmm. So there were people that we would encounter. I've personally encountered, hey, there's more space on that bus. Why don't you go sleep there? I don't want the rules. You know, like you can't show up intoxicated in any way. You come in on time, you leave on time. Your stuff goes underneath the bus, and it works for what it is, but it's not a long-term solution either. But it at the time, and even now, it was something versus nothing. Mm-hmm. So we're rolling into winter, which becomes the concern. Although summer's no bargain either, depending on the heat.
Right.
Right, so it's a challenge. It really is. But I mean, I've spoken to a lot of these people. Some of them, like I said, the drug addiction is so strong in them that they have absolutely no free will at this point to say, I'm just going to stop doing drugs and I'm going to get off the street. I'm not living underneath this bridge. It's just they're not there yet. It is a very, very difficult situation. And then, like I said, then you add in the influx of what we're seeing now at the state level with undocumented migrants from the southern border. That's adding to the problem, because we didn't have enough housing before that.
Yeah.
So now it's compounding the problem. I think that the next 3 or 4 years, you're really going to see it really explode into something.
Okay. We're going to take a break here in the Coffee and program, and more coming your way. Comments, questions can be called in at 766-1240.
As drivers, we encounter motorcycles on the road every day, and motorcycle safety is a two-way street. So give motorcycles extra space when stopping and starting. Check your mirrors and blind spots. Share the road, but never try and share a lane. Every rider could be a father, a son or a brother, a mother, a daughter or a sister, or the whole world to someone very special. Brought to you by the Rhode Island Police Chiefs Association and the Rhode Island Broadcasters Association.
Celebrate St. James, CYO, and Youth Ministry in Manville, Rhode Island. In honor of the parish's 150th anniversary, a CYO and Youth Ministry open house reunion will be held on Sunday, October 27th from 1 to 4 p.m. in the parish gym. Reconnect with friends and relive your favorite memories from sports, dances, plays, singing in the choir, and more. For more information, visit stjamesmanville.org. That's SAINT, jamesmanville.org. Don't miss out. Spread the word and celebrate with us.
Hey, it's ON Radio's Cruisin' Bruce Palmer, and I'd love to have you join me every Saturday for the Saturday Block Party. We start at 4 o'clock when I open up the ON Music Vault for you to pick whatever you want to hear or send to somebody special. Yes, the good old radio request days are back. Join me for the Saturday Block Party, Saturdays from 4 until 7 on ON Radio and streaming online at WoonsocketRadio.com.
It's Coffee and here on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us. I'm Joe Callahan here with Dave Richards, and Woonsocket Deputy Police Chief Tom Caloro is with us.
Hey, Joel,
Yes,
I wanted to
Dave.
ask the Deputy Chief a couple of questions there having to do with, first of all, I was very pleased to read that the town of Cumberland has observed what's been going on here in the state and have voted to go with the flock camera system. Now, you're Deputy Chief of Police, so obviously you have a story or two. We've been reading several success stories on the air about people who in the past might have gotten away, but now we've got pictures of their license plates. And it gives us a tool in law enforcement to track them down no matter where they flee after they become suspects in a crime. So can you give us any more background on that? Are other towns talking to you about it as well? Because I see Cumberland's just jumped on board.
Yeah, so we're tied into every flock camera, almost pretty close to almost everybody in the state of Rhode Island that has them. We can see theirs, they can see ours, as well as Massachusetts, and that just keeps getting bigger and bigger.
And if they go buy a camera, say, suspect Y, it takes that car and goes buy a camera, it rings a ding-dong over there. I say, hey, this one was put on the list of watch for this car. It's over here in Woonsocket. And people down in Cranston could see us, and now in Cumberland.
Yes. And every once in a while, somebody will stop me and ask, hey, isn't this kind of Big Brother like watching us and you're tracking all this stuff? And I could tell you that the algorithms within the system are encrypted. So I couldn't just blindly go in there and pick your plate and run it. Right. So those plates.
There's got to be other paperwork.
Yes,
there's got to be an actual bolo or something.
Yes,
like that.
and it's audited every month. You can't get into the system and do anything without leaving a fingerprint that you did it. So the controls in it are incredible, incredibly successful. We've had tons of success with it. From stolen autos to missing people to we really have.
Oh, yeah.
So it is really a phenomenal tool. And now housing under the director down there, Todd Bovine, the security manager, they put in two shot systems down there
that
too.
was also controversial about the gunshots. But
yeah,
I suppose. Well, as long as it's I keep wanting to say police properly. That's going to get me in trouble.
No, but it's true.
But as long as it's governed and controlled, then that's one thing. You just worry about some clever person getting in and using it for nefarious reasons.
Right. And we as far as like the flock system, so our IA division audits that monthly. I get an audit report monthly of who has accessed it in any way and what they've done with it and why. So the system works. It's been incredibly helpful in arrests of. Gosh, I bet you we're in triple digits by now from the system. We've had that system. It's been 3 years.
3 years?
It's about 3 years because we just re-upped the contract for another 3. And then the more cameras that come on board, the more powerful the system is. So it is.
How many do we have now? 4 or 5?
No, gosh, you're going to hold me to this. I think there's 11.
We'll just guess. 11, yeah? Okay.
I think there's 11. So they're all on inbounds and outbounds.
Of course.
And then
major intersections that you would pass through.
And then
like
housing
over at the
has,
Stadium Theater. There's one coming into Woonsocket here on Park Ave.
Park Ave.
Yeah.
Housing has them in and out of both of the
organized
complexes.
developments.
Yep. So it's beneficial when we've gotten, hey, somebody took, my son was supposed to be home, the father took him, and we've gotten the kid back, all the way to somebody elderly that's having an issue where they're lost, and
So
we've been able
it's
to
quite
find
the
people.
tool. Would you equate that, although I'm sure you're far too young to remember when it actually happened, would you equate that to the improvements in law enforcement when radios came in?
Right. So, gosh, I wish I was old enough to not know this, or young enough to not know this. But I actually started.
Well, actually, you were on the force before everybody got their personal radios, right? They were only in the cars.
So when I started in police work in 1986, there wasn't enough radios for anything. So there was radios in the car. You didn't have a portable.
There were sometimes cars without radio.
Yeah, absolutely. So the technological evolution of law enforcement in my career has been unbelievable and costly, because it all costs. And the way that it's headed is even more exciting. But yeah, I absolutely do remember when you called out from the car, and then you got out of the car with no portable, and then. I was in Westerly at the time. When we got portables, they were dead spots everywhere, so people still couldn't hear you.
Yeah.
So you learned how to de-escalate stuff quick because you were alone for a while.
Yeah. But I mean, these flock cameras now can end up being over time as useful a tool to law enforcement as the radios were.
Absolutely.
And nobody thinks twice about radios now.
No, it's same thing with the in-car computer systems. Like the things that you can do from inside the front seat of that car are things that we used. Number one, took time, had to be radioed in.
Had to go through a dispatcher.
Yeah, so you can do almost the entire job from inside the car. There's a huge cost to that, but it's just where we are technologically. And I don't. Somebody asked me the other day about being. Did I think AI would ever come into play? Because there's a big controversy going on in the Midwest, because there always is in law enforcement that way, where they're using AI to generate reports. So they'll call in and just talk to a computer system, and AI will generate a written report for that. Do I think that will be there? I don't think you'll ever see real traction to it because of the liability in the testifying.
Oh God, yeah.
Where did you reread it? Did you not? So I don't know that AI is going to get us, at least in the next 10 years anywhere. But we're fortunate because we have in the city, we're an incredibly well-equipped police department with an incredible amount of money spent on training every year. So the officer that's out there and the vehicle that they're driving and all that equipment it makes us honestly probably one of the best in the state. I truly believe that the quality of the people that we have in those cars and the equipment that we equip them with and the training that we provide them, they're the best in the state. They humble me every day with the work that they do.
All right, I have a note that was called in from outside, 766-1240, just back on the a little bit on the homeless situation, because you talked about the flow of meth and fentanyl. The question goes to the police: what are the police doing to cut off the flow of drugs?
All right, so we have a very active undercover or a vice unit. We have a very active vice unit. We're making raids probably without being specific, I would tell you that it's
Don't be specific. That gives them the wrong
it's at
information.
least it's way more than monthly. It's right.
Okay.
It's sometimes it's daily, sometimes it's weekly, but there is a constant flow of investigative technique going on behind the scenes to stop the flow. Now
But that's only part of a bigger.
That's only-
thing,
exactly,
because
that's-
you can only really worry about the city limits.
Yes.
Now, state police and the federal people have to get involved as well.
Yes.
To stop the flow. This is just where the end users are.
Right. We have two detectives that are assigned to task force. One's at the FBI, one's at the DEA. So we pull in federal resources when the cases get that big. Sure. And then the other piece that we're starting to really delve into, which just isn't new, is bringing in our postal inspectors, because an awful lot of narcotics get mailed, get pushed through the mail. So those are the active ends of it. The tip line is still always open, and I tell people constantly, dial a tip line and leave a message. Somebody always listens to it, and there is always something reported.
You remember
So
that number is 769.
4444.
Right, that's it.
And if you see something, dial it and just leave it. You don't have to leave your name and number, because we know what's going on. And this is just the personal side of it. The legalization of marijuana didn't help us any.
Oh boy,
right.
no.
It really didn't. It didn't help us in any
You
way,
walk
shape,
around,
or
you
form.
smell the stuff,
It's
and
everywhere.
it might be legal.
It's
so-
everywhere. It didn't help us in any way,
How
shape,
many
or
cars
form.
do you come up to on a stop, I wonder?
Most.
Yeah.
Most.
That they're reeking.
Yeah, most. And it didn't help us. I firmly believe that there was a medicinal use, and there is a medicinal use. That there were people out there that were getting incredible benefits medically the way it was. This having a store. I mean, everywhere you drive, there's a store where you can. It's. I don't see it as being a positive thing for the community, our country, or our youth. So
Okay. Could you bring the canine to like the post office and just have it sniff the mail every once in a week
yeah.
or so? And
Yeah.
or is that a
But
No,
so
you-
can, so can the
violation of
postal
someone's
service.
rights.
So can the postal service.
Yeah, the postal service, their investigators do a lot of that.
Okay.
So, and the fentanyl and methamphetamine problem is huge, and the pathways that over the course of the past 20 years that China has made to traffic this are so sophisticated and advanced. The solution. There has to be a federal solution to it at some point, like a real solution to it. But the borders, the way that they are, we can walk across them.
Right. All right. I know this isn't possible, but if you could stick back to traffic.
Oh, yeah,
if
sure.
if you could stick a police officer at the Vernon Street roundabout.
Yep.
And just to catch people doing it wrong, I would say, because every time I'm in it and I'm going around, I'm always watching, because I know another car coming in from South Main. Maybe they're gonna know that they're supposed to yield them, but maybe they don't.
You know what? So besides that one, they put a bunch of them in. But I went through two yesterday. I went through one in Chepachet, same thing.
Oh, yeah.
I pulled into the Chepachet downtown, and I'm looking, and I'm like, they're not going to stop. They're not going to stop. Or
'Cause they're not even looking at you.
they stop at every single one of the. So I'm like,
seen that.
did you not, like in driver's ed? Didn't they
go over this?
explain that they went over this? And at 146 in Uxbridge, same thing. I pull in, and cars are stopping, and the car in front of me stopping to let them go. I'm like, that's not how that's not how it works. It's not how it works. And then when we added the Jersey barriers for the bypass project, it got even worse. It got even worse. Where you could shut the whole state of Rhode Island down with one traffic cone. You swear, you could, in the middle of 95, you could put a cone. People would just stop in the middle of 95 trying to figure it out.
Are they still working on Clinton Street?
Yes, they're going to be paving Clinton Street. They're either milling or paving today on East School Street. Incredible amount of traffic, and I mean road work going on in the city.
Yes.
An incredible amount.
Well,
and
trying to get it all done before the cold weather
yeah,
sets in.
because the asphalt plant closes in mid-November.
And
so.
when you're done, just think of what you'll save on plows.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
repairs for the plowing,
No, I know.
because some of those roads were so bad they were breaking plows.
Yeah. So is it tough pulling out of the police station?
Yes.
With the clean
Yes.
stuff going on.
Yes, it is.
I got to go.
Yeah. Can you let me out? We've been using a lot of the Worrell Street side, and then cutting up and around.
Yeah.
But I got to give it to Lynch and the city too that oversaw that project, because they moved quick.
Yeah.
They did. They moved quick. They really did a lot of work in a short period of time.
Well, it's like a small army. There's the milling machine, and they get all that taken care of. And then, of course, they have to take what they've just milled off, away. But there's always leftovers.
Yeah.
And there's a fleet. I counted 3 street sweepers, large to small, going around picking up the little rocks and stuff like that, so that they're not being picked up and damaging cars or whatever.
I can tell you that all of these projects, because I drive around the city half the day, Steve D'Agostino or the mayor is always showing their face down there, so they better do it right, and they better do it quick, because they'll find out fast if they don't.
That's right.
Oh, yeah?
That's right. All right, that'll do it for the show for today. It goes by so quick.
Geez, we didn't give him a chance to ask us questions.
I know. Maybe next time.
Yeah, all right.
Okay.
I'll get
Next
to
time
see
you
you at the
come on.
parade, though. I'll come by. I'll blow the horn.
Oh, yeah. We'll be there
That'll
right there
be
on the
great.
corner of Privilege and Social Street.
Can't wait.
Deputy Chief Tom Caloro, thanks for coming in today.
Anytime.
We appreciate it so much. Dave, thanks for coming in today as well.
Great time. Thanks, Joe.
All right, my name's Joe Callahan. Have yourself a great day. Stay tuned now. Leslie Page from the library is coming up with At the Library, and then Food First with Karen Zangari. It's next on ON Radio Tiki Bar tonight at 6.
Broadcasting live and local daily from the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Avenue and Kennedy Street. This is WOON Woonsocket Radio. And now